I can remember 1,000 years ago when I used to be in the wine business, it was crucial for us who had vineyards to find people who were skilled at pruning. Pruning vineyards is an art. And we used to go to labor contractors who supposedly have licenses to bring groups in to either pick, to harvest, or to prune. And I would have been shocked to find that those labor contractors probably weren't a little skimpy in getting the documentation, but nonetheless they were licensed to bring people in. Many of our service industries depend on people for that kind of work. It just seems to me that there's an opportunity here to make a deal. And you and I could argue all day, I suppose, but I bet we could come to an agreement. I would suggest to you, why don't we say this? If they volunteer, because that's the only way we'll find them, they pay a fine. Tell me, $500 a month? For 5 years. Let's just say that's 30 grand. That's a pretty stiff fine. They can stay, and if they stay for 5 years and don't break any laws, they're eligible to get a permanent green card. Okay. All right, 10 years, I don't care. And after that, longer than 5 years, let's say 10 years. After 10 years, they're then eligible to apply for citizenship. That's 5 years longer than other people who immigrate to this country. And maybe they have to pay more of a fine. I don't care what, maybe they have to be branded, I don't care, but some, no ear notch, but at least, or you give me some other, and then, at the same time, they get a hardened card, as we call it. So it's some kind of a card with those things on it that glow in the dark and all that. And then the employer, woe betide, who hires someone where they have not verified their legality, gets a big fine as well. And then we, huh?
Yeah.
Right, you know, it's got to be, everybody's got to be in this. Now, if we had if we could sit down and negotiate some kind of a program like that sets up, and then we'd have a way to qualify temporary workers when they were needed, much more than this. Did anybody ever hire a nanny? Okay, but you could. There's a way now. If you say I need an employee and I can't find it, you run an ad 5 times, and then you go someplace and say, look, I ran this ad 5 times, and I can't find anybody. Can I hire somebody from Russia, wherever? And you could get them a visa to come in. Well, these ads are silly. I mean, the ads are long, and by the time anybody who could read through it would say, I don't know if I want that one, because they write the ad, I think, so nobody wants the job. Then they can go get a visa and bring people in. I mean, there's all kinds of ways around this, the H-1B program that we have in the high-tech industry. I think is slavery for well-educated people, because if they break that rule, they're shipped home and they can't get that visa again. So I recognize that it's an illegal program. I'll come back to your question in a minute. But I do think that we've got to find a way, because we just can't close our eyes. My previous opponent last year, as I've told you often, said we should have had a bounty. Turn one in. Give us a left ear and we'll give you $1,000. Give us 2 ears, we'll give you $2,000. I mean, you can't find them. And that's not, I mean, we can set up a system, I would think, and I might add, every other industrialized nation, whether it's Japan, Germany, France, has a system for allowing temporary workers in, sending home when they don't need them. And now, as to the costs, I would submit to you, where's our teachers union? Doesn't cost schools anything, does it? No. I don't think it costs the schools anything. I'm not at all sure that it impacts Highland or Washington Hospital in the emergency room. And the not treating people often could cost us more in the long run providing treatment by somebody who's good, doesn't pay. They can't get Social Security. They can't get Medicaid. They can't get those kinds of programs if they're not legal.
What about welfare?
They can't get welfare.
I thought they couldn't ask if you were legal.
You have to be identified, and it depends on what program. Maybe the county's got a program with which I'm not familiar, but they can't get aid for the TANF, those kinds of programs. So I suppose they can get a forged document someplace. Don't misunderstand me, but the laws don't provide. So my hope is that there's a certain amount of xenophobia, and there's a certain amount of concern with people who don't like the idea that we have to have dual language, street signs or ballots or other things. I don't think those cost a lot, and the ballots are only used by people who are here legally, and I just as soon have them well informed.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So at least we could get to the good information. So I guess what I'm hoping is that we can, and actually this is the one area that I can think of where President Bush and I have been in agreement all the time he's been in office. But boy, there are some people who are making a political career out of telling you the world will end if we don't somehow vacuum up all the people who are here without documentation and send them home. And one, I don't think it's possible without more of a police state than we already have. And two, I'm not sure it's really good for the economy. I really think we'd start to collect taxes, which would help pay my Social Security, thank you very much. And we would start, I think there's going to be a whole lot of benefits. And we wouldn't have people exploited, we wouldn't have people getting jobs because they don't dare complain for fear the employer would turn them in. So there's that, we get rid of all that. So my sense is we would be better off, if you will. Okay, so what was your number?
And definitely legal. And I'm being in favor of giving some respite to the illegals that are present here. I'm just concerned about them opening the gates to more of a flood from all of Central and Latin America.
No, I think that part of what this lady and I are going to do when we write our bill is somehow strengthen two things. Strengthen the system for issuing visas. And two, I don't think building the fence is the answer. I think strengthening the penalties on the employer. These people are not sneaking across the Arizona desert to go to Disneyland. They're coming to get a job. And if we cut off the jobs, I think we'll stop a lot of that pressure.
What about getting rid of NAFTA?
Pardon?
What about getting rid of
Repealing
NAFTA? They
NAFTA.
can't find a living where they live, right?
Yeah.
Their trade agreements are horrendous.
Most of them people, they had jobs and they quit to come to America
Yes.
for more money.
Please. Excuse me.